Understood. So now, imagine the psyche of a human being, a child, that unfortunately, let's say at the ripe young age of 7, 8, 9 years old, becomes privy to their entire timeline.
This is not a mentally healthy thing for a
And
child.
then is now put back into that position with all of those experiences that from an 8-year-old psyche would be completely unknown to them. But we know that what is unknown to us causes us fears.
Uh-huh.
So are you, in fact, being privy to all of the problems of your future self, manufacturing your own fears because they're right, and then having to live them out?
Yeah.
And then experiencing all the things that you then saw that truly were things that were pitfalls and cautions. So, for argument's sake, if at 8 years old, you saw that at 25 years old, you went on a trip to the Amazon and get bit by an alligator. And now, from 8 years old on, you have this unknown fear of alligators. And everybody says, oh, that's ridiculous. You shouldn't fear alligators. That's ridiculous. I don't know why I feel alligators, but all of a sudden at 25 years old, you get bit by an alligator. Which came first, the chicken or the egg?
Well,
there's the start of the circle.
A practical explanation for me, I was picked up at age 4, served a 55 and back to age 4. And I know several times during that particular time, I was bitten by spiders that were 3 to 5 meters across.
Mm-hmm.
And when I came back, I've been afraid of spiders my entire life. Now, would I have been afraid of spiders anyway? I don't know.
It's a tough call. These are, these are questions that, I study a lot of things. I have a lot of books. I've spoken to a lot of people. There's a research out there by the name of Anthony Peake, who studies consciousness, which I highly recommend a lot of folks look into his work. He was a friend of mine on Facebook before I got thrown off, and he was an author that I communicated with about some of my experiences and deja vu and things like that. And my idea of what I just expressed about what was happening to these children, I think, is a very rational explanation of deja vu. Rob, have you ever experienced deja vu?
All the time.
10-4. Excellent. So,
all the time.
Previously, prior to a week ago, I would often say that deja vu reminds me of like a video game. You get so far along, and the next thing you know, you die, but you don't go all the way back to the beginning and get put back to a certain spot and start all over again. So it's like a reinsert point. But I'm starting to change my opinion on that one with what I know of my past in remote viewing and the Stargate programs and, timelines and things. And I believe that deja vu is actually these moments of co-consciousness. And that's why it feels familiar, is because now here I am right now where something happens. Let's just say, for argument's sake, that this moment I'm looking at the screen and I go, oh, look, I've seen this guy before. I know what he's about to say. And then you start to say it, and everything starts to dial in for about 30 seconds of me knowing what's about to happen. And then it happens. I think what's happening there is actually a moment of co-consciousness where my youthful experience, who had remote viewed up until this point, to have the opportunity to see it for the first time, is now re-recollecting it, because now here I am again.
That explains a lot for me, because a lot of the really intense deja vu episodes that I've had, I was younger, but I also had the first glimpse of it when I was asleep. And essentially it came to fruition a week later. It was a dream state where that happened, and then all of a sudden, boom, it was there. Even down to like the aspects of emotion in the room and stuff like that. And I've actually, not intentionally, but I have, thought about specific people. Like usually it would be my girlfriend when I was far away from her for a little while. And I would, think in my mind where she was at and be able to pinpoint exactly what she was doing, where she was sitting, kind of hovering over her in a sense. So, I mean, at the time, I wasn't sure if it was my imagination or if it was actually remote viewing in that sense. Now I know that it probably was remote viewing, if anything.
Yeah, I mean, regardless, it's your experience to define, right? And if science can't explain it to you in a justifiable fashion, then you're left to having a solid opinion.
I like that attitude. If science can't explain it in a rational fashion, um, too many in our SSP community will turn to religion at that point, and I'm personally finding that disturbing because our community is split between Christians, New Agers, and other. And I'm one of the people in the other category. And I'm sitting here watching these people basically going to war over their pre existing religious views rather than the experiences.
That's
I went to
something.
13 years of Catholic school, and then I spent the rest of my life being a plumber. And I assure you, if the pipe is leaking, if somebody can pray that leak away, I'll let them do that. But odds are you're going to have to do harder work.
Agreed.
I find it weird that a lot of these specific different religious archetypes, they all coincide with each other. So there is some sort of common ground between it, whether it be New Age, Christianity, Muslim, Jewish, all that stuff, But at the same time, in those aspects of those specific religions, shouldn't you be more open to different possibilities of whatever it may be? And if somebody feels differently about that, then they should be, held to the same esteem as somebody who believes in a deity or doesn't, or, everybody should be open-minded, because one of my philosophies is if you can't literally, you can't ever discredit anybody's experience, because that's their reality, that's their truth, that's their perception, and reality is your perception. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to go ahead and discredit their experience, you really can't do that, because that's being woefully ignorant, because you don't know everything, I don't know everything, nobody knows everything. So what's to say that their faith, because they believe in it, isn't as powerful as somebody who doesn't believe that or believes something different? It's all relative. It's their truth, and everybody should respect each other's truths. Personally,
I don't have a problem with people who believe. I have a problem with people who use that belief as a bully club on others.
Exactly. Well, I think it goes both ways. Actually, definitely.
I think it's beneficial for everyone to have a belief system, right? To help them to understand and whatever comforts them in their understanding. But I believe that tolerance of other people's systems of understanding is required. And that becomes problematic when the zeal for one belief system gets in the way of that tolerance. It's obvious that they're not really following their own belief system that they're touting.
Well, I've seen it turn into mind control too many times.
Mm-hmm.
And having been near clergy in the Episcopal Church, I've watched the clergy use the mind control aspects of it. And I was raised in the Church of Christ. I left at the time that the CIA actually took them over and was using their belief structure as a mind control device. And that was about 1981 was when I left them. And there was a movement in them called Crossroads, and it came out of Florida, and it was a complete heresy under any Christian terminology, and yet it took over this entire denomination, and it involved using touching techniques that the CIA had developed that were, you reach around a person and put your hand on their kidney area and they will automatically feel guilty, even if they've not done anything. And while they are in that emotional state, you can get them to do anything.
Do they call that the Catholic hug?
No, but they wouldn't have in the Church of Christ. they were using it to convert people. So this is my personal experience, part of why I have a really difficult time dealing with people who are fanatically religious and cannot cope with people who don't see the world their way. And once I see that behavior start, I just back off, step away, because nothing I say is going to get through to them.
It's kind of strange, with Catholicism, when you say the CIA took them over, or that specific congregation. That's not the first time that's happened either. Once they instilled the Bible, we can go back centuries, and they instilled the Bible, and some of the biblical text that they omitted doesn't give the reader its full experience on it, because they wanted a specific, it goes back to an archetype or a specific, group of people, denominating, we're going to be this way, we're going to be that way. Like personally, when I am Catholic and I do believe in God, but I don't go to a congregation to do it. I do business with God myself, right here in my house.
If you're going to believe in God, that I believe that's the only way you can actually do it. Have a personal one-on-one relationship with the dude.
Exactly.
Without all the influences and mind control, just you and the dude. And
I like that, the dude. You and the dude.
And I have a belief system as well, and I would say that it aligns. I would say it would be Christian in an aspect, but I would challenge most Christians to look to pre-Constantinian concepts and not post-Constantinian concepts, if they don't want to study the religion of their conqueror.
Well, I was put through 104 exorcisms because I have altars as a result of my time with the CIA at Langley. And I had 2,200 altars. And I would say 95% of good Christian people consider altars to be demons. And my answer is, if my altars were demons, then those 104 exorcisms should have gotten rid of them.
I have a question for you, Penny, and no, it's good. You can answer it if you want. If you don't, do you think maybe that the CIA was putting you through some kind of almost divisive torture to break you a little bit by sending these people to you to try and perform these exorcisms, or basically trying to control everything around you, to bring these people in to try and manipulate you in a further way, to push you either further away or towards some type of like thought pattern or something like that?
My cover altar, the person who lives on Earth and has interacted for the last 65 years, had programming to be extremely religious and ultra submissive. And one of the priests at the Episcopal Church told me I was dangerously codependent. This was the result of programming. And so I believe personally that, because this was 2 years of once a week, I would go and have a session where I would be exorcised. This was 2 solid years of once a week. And at the end, they said, we can't find any reason that you still have altars. And so they excommunicated me. This was intentional to destroy whatever support system I had. And because I had gone through all of that and was still excommunicated. It destroyed my faith and made me fear Christians. So anybody that comes to me and they start preaching Christ, I'm like, whoa, I've been to seminary. I was a postulant for holy orders and put through this before I could be a deacon. And I failed because I have altars. So my thing is, I hear Christian, I think torture. So when people talk about satanic ritual abuse, which is a very real thing, I had Christian ritual abuse, which is also a very real thing.
I think
I can appreciate that because I feel the same way, Penny. Like I feel like I because of my childhood and stuff. Like I mean, I feel justified in having a lot of anger towards certain religious factions. I mean, I wasn't treated well as a child, but in reality, you know, I do maintain a belief system. But this is that tolerance, like you're saying, is that other people don't provide it, and it's, you know, it's unfortunate because it's, you know.
My context is during this week, I have been screamed at on social media and blocked after they informed me that I was a devil because I shared information that's in the public realm about a specific religion that's not Abrahamic. And it was related to the Moloch worship of some of the elites, not all of them. Folks need to understand this is a tiny little group that has been worshiping this critter for at least 5,000 years, and this is standard. And these people were like, I was making it up. Or one of them said, if you know about it, you had to be involved in it. No, it's taught in comparative religion in seminary.
And their logic doesn't hold water to begin with. I mean, simply that statement is erroneous. To say, oh, because you know about it, you must be in it. Really? I know about the Apollo mission. Was I in on it?
No.
I know. This is ridiculous. This is divisiveness.
This is the